Hi everybody. So I want to show you how to do an eDNA sample. We're going to talk through everything. So first, this is all the equipment that you will need when taking a sample. So we've got our pump. We've got the power cord that connects our pump to our battery. Make sure that you charge the battery before you go out so it is fully charged. You will have a tube. This tube is what the water will be filtered through from the creek or stream or river through the pump into a bucket. We will be taking 5 liters of water for every sample. So this bucket has liters marked. There's 5 liters in it. It is also acceptable if you are somewhere and carrying a bucket is not going to work for you to bring like a Nalgene and just make sure that you count 5 times as you empty it out. We also have our Secchi discs that we have made for everybody to get a measurement of stream turbidity, and an extension pole. It's a paint pole that extends that we put a clamp onto, and this will be for taking the eDNA sample so that you're not standing right behind it stirring up sediment or stirring up anything into the filter, and so we will talk about that as well. And then the other couple things that you'll have is your filter sample. So this is our sample kit, and in this kit you do not want to open this kit until you are ready to take your sample, because everything in here is clean, DNA free, and as soon as you open it is when things start to get contaminated. So don't open it until you are ready to take your sample. Inside this kit you have, I can show you, you will have your filter cup. That is this. Has the filter inside and what the water will be running through. You have clean gloves. You have clean set of forceps, and you have a bag of silica beads for storing the filter after. Cool. Okay. And then the last thing that you should have is your data sheet and a marker and a pencil. And yes, we will go over all of this. So first things first, let's set up the eDNA pump. The first thing you do is you want to be somewhere that is flat, or that the eDNA kit is sturdy. It's not going to fall into the water. It's not going to fall off a rock and get busted up. So we'll place that. Then you want to connect the pump, or the pump to the battery with our cable here. So we have this end that plugs into the pump, and then with the battery, the positive and the negative sides, kind of like if you're jumping a car. So you put positive on the positive, red on positive, black on negative. And then you want to set up the pump. So this is one cable, and the way you set this up is this end. There's 2 ends, I guess I should show. So this end, this is where your filter cup is going to connect to this end. This end is where the water is going to come out into your bucket when you're measuring 5 liters. So you want the end with the filter cup to be longer, because this is the part that's going to be stretched out into the creek to collect the water. So, but you want to leave enough space as well when you're putting it through the filter that it can go into the bucket without like spilling water all over and getting everything wet. The way that you set this up is this tube goes through the pump right here. So you'll open the pump up, and then you run the tube through it like so. If you can see that. Cool. And then once you're set, close it back down. And to make sure that you put the pump the correct direction, you can turn the pump on. Oh. 1 second. Cool. Make sure the pump turns on. This is why you charge your battery. there's the pump. Okay, so to make sure that the pump is, or that the tubing is going through the pump the right direction, you'll turn it on and you can feel the filter cup and you'll feel a suction. So it should suction, and then this side, the opposite side, should be blowing air out. And that's how you know it's the right direction. If you put the tube in and this is not suctioning to you, then you have the tube the wrong way. Turn it off, take it out, flip the tube around, and try it again. Alright. So, now, I believe that we are ready to begin. So that's how you set up the pump. Okay, so now we are going to open the kit. So now once you open the kit, whoever is taking the eDNA, you are now not allowed to touch things. So you don't touch your face, don't touch your hair, don't touch things that might have extra DNA. You want to try and be as clean as possible. Okay, so we're opening it. First thing we'll do is we'll put on our clean gloves. Next, we're going to take out the forceps and the silica, and we're going to place them somewhere that is away from things with a lot of DNA, such as the pump and the bucket and the filter, but open them just slightly so that they're easy to access, and set them away from things, so your backpack as well. Make sure they won't get rolled on top of or blown away. You want them to be easily accessible, but away from potentially highly contaminated objects. So we open this, but it's not too open, so like dirt and stuff's not blowing into it, but it's open enough for easy access. Okay, next, oh, sorry, I have my glove on backwards. Okay, so next, you take the filter out of the pump, or out of your bag. Now we are done with this bag. Let's see, just so it doesn't blow away. And we're going to attach the filter now to the tubing, to the pump. And so the way you want to hold this filter is you're going to hold it in a way that the bag acts as like a second glove to it. So I'm holding it with my glove. And one thing to think about is you're going to have like a dirty hand and a clean hand. So make sure your clean hand is like your more dominant hand, because your dirty hand is going to be touching the tube, touching the pole into the water. So bring this down so the end is exposed. So this is where we're going to attach this pump to, and then the filter is on the other side. And to attach the pump, you just slide it on and push it on like so. Once you have the tube attached here, what we're doing for our project, because we are in potentially faster moving stream and we don't want to knock up, or slow moving stream, and we don't want to knock up gravel, silt, things on the ground to get in the way, we're going to use our extendable paint poles. So again, holding this with the clean hand, dirty hand, and we're going to put this sample into the clamp, but we're clamping it in the hole so that it's not pinching the water. So the water can still get through nicely, but it's nice and sturdy. It's not going to go anywhere. So then, once that's ready, you can take this off. That bag. And now we're ready to take some water samples. Okay, so now what we do, we're going to put this in the water and turn on the filter. And you'll see that water is starting to pump through into the bucket. So now we'll hold this until we get 5 liters of water. probably turn it off now, and then we'll just restart. Okay, so now we've been filtering for about 5 to 8 minutes, and we are at 5 liters. So what you're gonna do, as you can see in the bucket, we're full. You're gonna take the pump out and hold it up, and then allow the pump to run for another about 30 seconds to a minute, because we're trying to dry the filter. We want the filter to be completely dry. So like this, come down. Like zoom in on that to see the filter drying. Give it a second. Probably fast forward this part. Okay, so now, has it been about 30 seconds? Okay, so now that it's been 30 seconds or more, we can turn off the pump. And now what we're going to do is we're going to be removing the filter. So we can take it out of our paint clip now. We're done with this. Set that to the side. And you will take this cup, and this cup just pops off like that. And once you pop the cup off, you're also done with this. So you can set that to the side as well. Then the next step is using your clean hand, you're going to get the forceps that you set to the side earlier and take them out, trying not to touch the tip because there could be some contamination on your finger. Yep. Then, using the forceps, what you do is you take the filter that has now filtered all of the DNA, and we're going to fold it into fourths. So we'll grab it. Maybe. There we go. And fold it into fourths. So fold it in half once, and then fold it in half a second time, like so. Then, this is our sample. This is what we're trying to keep. We will take our bag of silica that you open slightly and set to the side, drop the sample into the silica. You're now done with the forceps. Set those to the side. Close the bag, push out the air, and zip up the bag. And then just make sure that your sample gets kind of like inside the silica beads to keep it dry. And then what you're going to do is you're going to label this bag. So what you're going to label it on, that's where the Sharpie comes into play. So we did practice one earlier, which I'm going to point out one of our mistakes that we made earlier, but more or less what you're going to sample on is the creek. So we are on Upper McDonald Creek, our site, so this will be like what number sample you're on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. Or no, our site is Upper McDonald. I wrote site training because this is for a training video, so we knew that this wasn't part of our videos. Then the sample number is the sample 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. The date, how many liters of water were sampled, so we filtered 5 liters of water. Your coordinates, and then the initial of the sampler. You will record all of this with the Sharpie on this piece of paper. And then there are, also at this point, you can take your gloves off. We're done with our gloves. And set those to the side. Cool. So then, the next step is every bag will come with an envelope, and you'll fill out the same information but on the envelope, and we'll store the envelope, or we'll store the sample in the envelope, and this is what we'll send to the genomics lab. The envelopes, if you don't want to carry these with you the whole day, you can fill these out later when you get back to camp or get back at the end of the day. But make sure you fill them out with all the exact same information. And if you're not going to bring one of these with you, or with your envelopes with you, make sure you know everything that you need to put on the bag. The other things that we're going to be taking, so I'm going to record, or I'm going to label this as our second sample on the creek and so on and so forth. But just for the sake of time, the other information that we are interested in is stream turbidity. So the reason we're interested in stream turbidity is we think that it might affect eDNA collection. And so while one person is taking the eDNA sample, another person or person in the group can be taking a turbidity measurement. And so that's what this is for. This is a Secchi disc. And the Secchi disc is used for measuring stream clarity. I think that most of the streams that we'll be surveying are going to be pretty clear, like Upper McDonald Creek here. But if they're not, this will be a good measurement to help us learn. Maybe we can't take eDNA in certain level of turbid streams. So the way you measure this is pretty easy. We will have a measuring stick and this disc. We forgot our measuring stick for this video, so I'm going to use this paint hole as just an example. So pretend that this has markings and is the distance. But what you will do this behind, downstream of whoever is doing the eDNA, because you don't want to contaminate the samples in any way or wait until the eDNA sample has been taken. But you will lower the disc into the water. You can use the paint pole to help push it down. And you're looking down into the water, and if you can see this disc clearly all the way at the bottom of the stream, then you'll record the depth of the water, so whatever this measures to, and the and you'll say you can see it clearly. But if you cannot see it clearly, what you're going to do is you're going to slowly lift it up until you can clearly see it, and at that depth you'll record the depth that you can clearly see the stream, or see the Secchi disc. We got these discs made from the sign shop, and so they should sync for you. It's a little tricky for us right now because we're at extremely high water, and so it's kind of just being pushed. But I think using the paint pole and your measuring stick, it should be pretty straightforward in getting it down and getting a measurement. But that's what this is for, and how we're measuring turbidity. And so then you should have your survey form, and this is the information that we're interested in. So the date, observers, survey creek, this is important, and then the site number, so this will be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. Your location, who's taking the eDNA, initials are fine. The volume of water filtered, which should be 5 liters unless something comes up. The time, so what time is it right now for us? It is 3:54, so almost 4 o'clock. Are there ducks visible? So can you see ducks? Yes or no? And if it's a yes, how far are you from the ducks? Are you 100 meters? Are you 20 meters? Record that. And the stream location, so the stream location we have written up here. So we have a pool, a rapid, runs, riffles, cascades, confluence, laminar, and eddy. So where we are right now, we are in what I would consider a run, trying to like show. So the run, the explanation is fast moving water, but no waves. So we don't see any white water, but this water is moving pretty fast. So I would consider this a run. So that's how we explain that. And then for the turbidity measurements, can you see the bottom? Yes, we could see the bottom on